Welcome to HFY Fiction Journey. If you enjoy thrilling tales of science fiction, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more exciting stories to life. The crash landing of a ship in the crimson sky of Nexus 9 was filled with otherworldly fury. Zora, the last known survivor of the Lien species, crouched in the dense undergrowth of the planet's lush jungle. Her iridescent scales shimmered in the dying light of the alien sun, her forearms tense and ready for action. For cycles upon cycles, she had been alone on this world, the sole guardian of her people's legacy. The tranquility of her solitary existence shattered as a burning object tore through the atmosphere, leaving a trail of smoke and fire in its wake. Zora's compound eyes widened, her antennae twitching with a mixture of fear and curiosity. She had seen ships fall from the sky before. It was how her people had been wiped out by the fearsome craft Empire. But this vessel was different, smaller and of a design she had never encountered. As the ship plummeted towards the surface, Zora's mind raced. Was this the return of the craft? Had they come to finish what they started, or was it something else entirely? The vessel disappeared behind the tree line, and moments later, a thunderous crash echoed through the jungle, followed by the screech of tearing metal and the snapping of ancient trees. Caution mixed with curiosity in Zora's mind. Every instinct told her to retreat deeper into the jungle to hide, as she had done for so long. But a small voice, sounding remarkably like her long-dead mother, whispered of duty and the need to protect what remained of their world. With a soft chittering sound of resignation, Zora began to make her way toward the crash site. As she approached, the acrid smell of burning fuel and molten metal assaulted her sensitive olfactory organs. Through the gaps in the foliage, she could see the ship, a sleek silver craft now broken and scarred. It was unlike anything the craft had ever used, which only heightened her apprehension. Suddenly, a hatch on the side of the ship burst open with a hiss of escaping pressure. Zora froze, her camouflage instinctively activating, blending her form seamlessly with the surrounding vegetation. From the smoking opening emerged a figure that made Zora's heart race with terror and fascination. The creature was a human, with 2 arms and a head of dark fur. Its skin was a pale pink, devoid of scales or chitin. It wore some form of protective suit, now torn and bloodied, as it stumbled from the wreckage, coughing and gasping. Zora realized she was looking at a species she had only heard of in ancient legends, a human. Captain Nina Reeves of the independent salvage vessel Starchaser fought to clear her lungs of smoke as she assessed her surroundings. The emergency landing, if one could call their uncontrolled descent that, had been a nightmare, but they were on solid ground, and that was something. As the ringing in her ears subsided, she called out to her crew, "Sound off. Is everyone all right?" One by one, voices responded from within the ship. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, their xenobiologist, emerged next, her usually immaculate lab coat now smeared with grease. "Captain, I'm okay, but Run is pinned in the engine room. We need to get him out." Nina nodded, her training kicking in despite the chaos. "Okay, Doc, you and I will get Run." Mitery. She called back into the ship. "Once you've got your bearings, I need you to assess our situation. Comms, NAV, life support, everything." As Nina turned to re-enter the ship, she felt an eerie sensation wash over her, as if they were being watched. Her hand instinctively moved to the pulse pistol at her hip as she scanned the dense jungle surrounding them. Years of traversing the most dangerous frontiers of space had honed her instincts, and right now, they were screaming that they weren't alone. Zora observed the humans with a mixture of fear and fascination. They were nothing like the merciless craft. These creatures seemed vulnerable, confused, and lost as she watched them scramble to aid their injured companion. Zora felt an unexpected pang of empathy. How long had it been since she had interacted with another sentient being? How long since she had felt the warmth of compassion or the comfort of companionship? Inside the ship, Elena and Yuki worked to free Run, the young engineer trapped beneath a fallen beam. His face was pale, and his breathing was labored. "Captain, I'm sorry. I couldn't hold her together," he gasped. Save your breath, kid. Elena grunted as she and Yuki lifted the beam. You got us on the ground, and that's what matters. We'll patch you up and have you sweet-talking the engines in no time. As they carefully extracted Run from the wreckage, Dimitri's voice crackled over the ship's damaged intercom. Captain, you need to see this. Our long-range comms are fried, and the NAV system is showing. Well, it's not good. Elena helped Yuki settle Run onto a makeshift bed before making her way to the bridge. Dimitri, their grizzled navigator, sat before a flickering holographic display, his face grim. We're way off course, Elena, he said, dispensing with formalities. This planet isn't on any of our charts. We're in uncharted space. The weight of their situation settled on Elena's shoulders. A damaged ship, an unknown world, and no way to call for help. She took a deep breath, centering herself. All right, we've been in tough spots before. We focus on survival first, repairs second. We'll figure out where we are and how to get home once we're not in immediate danger of becoming this planet's newest permanent residents. As the humans busied themselves with their immediate survival, Zora found herself drawn closer to their crash site. Their language was strange, unlike anything she had ever heard, but their actions spoke volumes. They cared for each other, worked together, and faced their dire situation with a resolve that stirred something long dormant within her. For so long, Zora had believed that her isolation was a strength, a shield against the cruelty of the universe that had taken everything from her. But watching these humans, she began to wonder if perhaps there was another way. Could there be strength in connection and trust? As night fell on Nexus 9, bringing with it the eerie bioluminescence of the jungle's nocturnal life, Zora made a decision that would alter the course of her life and the fate of the stranded human crew. She would reveal herself, not as a threat, but as a potential ally. With slow, deliberate movements, Zora emerged from her hiding place, allowing her camouflage to fade. Zora raised all four of her arms in what she hoped would be seen as a universal gesture of peace. Her compound eyes fixed on the human's vessel. Elena, stepping out of the ship to assess the exterior damage, froze as she caught sight of the alien being. Her hand flew to her weapon, but she didn't draw it. Something in the creature's posture, in the almost hesitant way it approached, stayed her hand. Oh my God! She breathed loud enough for her crew to hear. We're not alone out here. As Human and Lien regarded each other in the ethereal glow of the alien night, both realized that their encounter could either be the beginning of something remarkable or the prelude to tragedy. The next few moments would determine whether death or understanding would prevail on this distant, uncharted world. In that fragile, charged moment, the fate of two species hung in the balance, poised between the twin precipices of fear and hope. The story of Nexus 9 was about to be rewritten, with consequences that would echo across the stars. The tense standoff between Captain Elena Reeves and Zora, the last Lien, stretched on for what felt like an eternity. The jungle around them pulsed with bioluminescent life, casting an otherworldly glow on the scene. Elena's crew had emerged from the ship, their faces a mix of awe and apprehension at the sight of the alien being before them. Dr. Yuki Tanaka was the first to break the silence. Her scientific curiosity overriding her fear, she whispered, "Captain, those markings, the physical structure, I've never seen anything like it. This could be a completely undiscovered species." Elena nodded slightly, never taking her eyes off Zora. "Let's hope they're the friendly kind," she murmured. Raising her voice and speaking slowly, she addressed the alien. "We mean you no harm. Our ship crashed. We're lost." Zora tilted her head, her antenna twitching as she processed the unfamiliar sounds. Slowly, she lowered two of her forearms, keeping the others raised in a continued gesture of peace. From a pouch at her side, she withdrew a small crystalline object. Mitch tensed, his hand moving to his weapon. "Careful, Captain. We don't know what that thing can do." Elena held up a hand, silencing her crew. There was something in the alien's demeanor and hesitancy, a vulnerability, that made her want to trust this strange being. "It's okay," she said, as much to her crew as to Zora. "Let's see what happens." Zora activated the crystal, and a soft blue light emanated from it. Suddenly, the air between them shimmered, and Elena heard a voice, not with her ears, but directly in her mind. "Greetings, Skyfallen ones. I am Zora, the last of the Liens. Welcome to Nexus 9. The crew gasped collectively. Elena fought to keep her composure, marveling at the advanced technology that allowed for such perfect telepathic communication. "I'm Captain Elina Reeves of the salvage ship Starchaser. We didn't mean to intrude on your world." Zara's compound eyes seemed to soften. "Intention matters little in the face of circumstance, Captain. You are here now, and you are in danger." Before Elena could respond, a distant roar echoed through the jungle, causing the local wildlife to fall silent. Zara's posture changed instantly, her scales bristling. "We must seek shelter," she projected urgently. "The night brings hungry shadows to this part of the jungle." Elena hesitated only for a moment before making a decision that would alter the course of their stay on Nexus 9. "Our ship's not going anywhere soon. If you have a safe place, we'd be grateful for the help." Zara nodded, her relief palpable even through her alien features. "Follow closely. The path is treacherous to those unfamiliar with our world." As they prepared to move, Run, the injured engineer, stumbled out of the ship, supported by Yuki. "Captain," he gasped, "we can't just leave the Starchaser. All our supplies, our equipment." Elena looked at her damaged ship and then at the darkening jungle around them. "We'll come back for what we need, Run. Right now, our survival depends on trusting our new friend." With Zara leading the way, the human crew ventured into the bioluminescent forest. The alien moved with fluid grace, her forearms occasionally reaching out to push aside giant leaves or hold back thorny vines. Elena and Dmitri supported Run between them, while Yuki brought up the rear, her eyes wide with wonder at the alien flora surrounding them. As they traveled, Zara began to share her story through the crystal's telepathic link. "Long ago, my people were a thriving civilization. We lived in harmony with Nexus 9, building our cities in the treetops and deep underground. But then the craft came. Images flashed through the humans' minds, great ships darkening the sky, weapons of unimaginable power, cities burning." Elena felt a wave of empathy for their alien guide. "The craft, they destroyed your people," she thought. Zara's mental voice was tinged with sorrow. "They came for our world's resources. My people fought, but we were unprepared for the brutality of interstellar war. I was but a child when the last of our great cities fell. A group of elders managed to hide me away in a stasis pod deep within a sacred temple. When I awoke, I was alone." The group fell silent, the weight of Zara's tragic history hanging heavily in the air. Even Dmitri, usually skeptical of anything alien, felt a pang of sympathy for the lone survivor. After what seemed like hours of trekking through the dense jungle, they arrived at the base of an enormous tree, its trunk wider than the Starchaser. Zara placed her hand on a seemingly random part of the bark, and a hidden door slid open, revealing a lift platform. "My sanctuary," Zara explained as they entered, "one of the few safe places left on this world." The lift carried them up into the tree's massive canopy. As they ascended, Elena marveled at the ingenuity of Lien architecture, seamlessly blending technology with the natural world. When the lift finally stopped, they stepped out into a spacious chamber that seemed to be a combination of living quarters and a research lab. Yuki immediately set about tending to Ren's injuries, using a mix of their own medical supplies and some of Zara's alien remedies. Dmitri began to explore the chamber, his natural curiosity overcoming his initial weariness. Elena turned to Zara, who was watching the humans with a mixture of fascination and apprehension. "Thank you for helping us," the captain said. "But I have to ask, why, after what happened to your people, would you want anything to do with outsiders?" Zara was quiet for a moment, her antenna drooping slightly. When she responded, her mental voice was soft, almost wistful. For too long, I've been alone, watching your crew. How you care for each other reminds me of what I lost, what my people lost. Perhaps in helping you, I can honor their memory." Elena nodded, understanding the weight of loneliness and the hope that came with unexpected connections. "We'll do everything we can to repair our ship and contact our people. But while we're here, maybe we can help each other, learn from each other." As if to underscore the captain's words, Yuki called out excitedly from where she was treating Run. "Captain, look at this. The cellular regeneration rate using Zara's medicine is off the charts. This could revolutionize trauma care across the galaxy." Zara's eyes seemed to brighten at Yuki's enthusiasm. "Your healer is skilled. Perhaps she would be interested in learning more about our medical techniques." Elena smiled, seeing the first bridges of understanding being built between their species. "I'm sure she'd be thrilled. And maybe you could teach us more about surviving on Nexus 9. In return, we can share what we know about the wider galaxy and help you prepare in case the craft ever return." As the night wore on, humans and Lians began to exchange knowledge and stories. Yuki and Zara pored over ancient Lian medical texts, while Dmitri taught the alien about recent advancements in space travel. Run, feeling better thanks to the combined medical efforts, began to examine some of the Lian technology with undisguised awe. They all shared a growing sense of hope. Yes, they were stranded on an unknown world, but they had found an ally, perhaps even a friend. As Elena looked out over the moonlit canopy of Nexus 9, she couldn't help but feel that this crash landing might lead to something far greater than a simple salvage mission. However, unbeknownst to the newfound allies, deep in the jungle below, something stirred. The roar that had hastened their retreat echoed once more, closer this time. Whatever creature called Nexus 9 home, alongside Zara, was on the move, drawn perhaps by the scent of the crashed ship or the presence of the newcomers. As the humans settled in for their first night on this alien world, and as Zara experienced the first companionship she had known in years, none of them were aware of the ancient slumbering forces their arrival had awakened. Forces that would soon test the fragile alliance between human and Lian, challenging them all in ways they could scarcely imagine. The true trials of Nexus 9 were only just beginning. The hidden city. As the first light of Nexus 9's alien sun filtered through the dense canopy, Elina awoke to find Zara already active, her forearms gracefully manipulating holographic displays filled with complex data. The Lian's compound eyes flickered towards the stirring humans, a gesture Elina was beginning to recognize as a smile. "Good morning, Skyfall and friends," Zara greeted. Zara's mental voice resonated warmly. "I trust you found rest despite the foreign sounds of our world." Elena nodded, stretching out the kinks from sleeping on the unfamiliar surface. "Better than I expected, actually. Thank you again for your hospitality." As the rest of the crew began to stir, Yuki approached Zara with barely contained excitement. "I've been reviewing the medical data you shared last night," she said, her eyes shining. "The potential applications are staggering, but there's so much more I don't understand. You mentioned other research centers. Is there any chance they survived?" Zara's antennae drooped slightly, a gesture of sadness. "Most were destroyed in the craft invasion," she said. But she paused, her mental voice tinged with hope. "There is one place, the Great Archive, hidden deep beneath the surface. If any of our advanced knowledge survived, it would be there." Elena, overhearing the conversation, stepped closer. "This archive, could it also have technology that might help us repair our ship?" Zara's eyes sparkled with an intensity that needed no translation. "The archive is more than a repository of knowledge. It is a nexus of our most advanced research. Weapons, shields, faster-than-light travel. All were studied there." Dmitri, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. "If this place is FTL tech, we might be able to do more than just fix the Star Chaser. We could upgrade her, maybe even find a way to warn your people about the craft." The implications hung heavy in the air. Elena looked at each of her crew members, seeing the mix of excitement and apprehension on their faces. Finally, she turned to Zara. This archive. Can you take us there? Zara's form seemed to tense, her scales shifting color slightly. The path is treacherous, guarded by ancient defenses and the evolved predators of the deep jungle. I have never dared the journey alone, but with your help, perhaps. Elena nodded decisively. Then we go together. Ren, how are you feeling? Up for a trek? The young engineer grinned, flexing his newly healed arm. Never better, Captain. Whatever that stuff Zara and Doc cooked up works miracles. Good, Elena said, because we're going to need everyone at their best. She asked Dimitri, what supplies do we have? The navigator ran through their inventory quickly. We've got enough rations for a few days, basic survival gear, and our personal weapons. Not ideal for a jungle expedition, but it'll have to do. Elena turned back to Zara. Anything specific we should prepare for? The Lian's mental voice became grave. The jungle floor is home to creatures that have grown large and cunning in the absence of my people. The deeper we go, the stranger things become. The archive itself is protected by security systems that may still be active. We must be cautious. With a plan in place, the unlikely team began their preparations. Zara shared her knowledge of the local flora and fauna, pointing out which plants could be used for medicine and which were deadly to touch. Yuki absorbed every detail, her scientific mind racing with the possibilities. As they were about to leave the safety of Zara's treetop sanctuary, a distant roar echoed through the jungle, causing everyone to freeze. It was the same sound they had heard the night before, but closer now, more menacing. Zara's mental voice was tight with concern. The Shadow Stalker, a predator I've never seen, only heard. It's been growing bolder lately, venturing closer to the old cities. We must move quickly and quietly, with tension adding urgency to their steps. The group descended from the massive tree and set out into the untamed wilds of Nexus 9. Zara led the way, her forearms often busy clearing paths, checking directions and gesturing warnings to the humans behind her. As they trekked deeper into the jungle, the environment around them began to change. Bioluminescent plants grew more numerous, and strange floating spores drifted through the air, glowing with an inner light. Massive fungi formations created natural archways and bridges between the towering trees. Yuki was in a constant state of awe, her datapad recording everything she saw. The biodiversity here is unbelievable, she whispered. The evolutionary paths these species must have taken. Dimitri, ever the pragmatist, kept his eyes on the surrounding shadows. Just remember, Doc, everything probably evolved to eat everything else. Stay alert. As if to punctuate his warning, a group of monkey-like creatures with 6 limbs and iridescent fur suddenly burst from the canopy above, chittering and howling. The humans instinctively reached for their weapons, but Zara raised a hand to stop them. Tree trotters, she explained, harmless unless cornered. They're running from something. No sooner had she said this than a massive shape crashed through the undergrowth behind them. It was unlike anything the humans had ever seen. A predator the size of a small shuttle, with a body like a centipede but a head resembling a Venus flytrap. Its dozens of legs ended in wickedly sharp claws, and its plant-like maw was lined with rows of serrated teeth. Run! Zara's mental shout galvanized them into action. The group sprinted through the jungle, leaping over fallen logs and ducking under low-hanging vines. The creature, which Elena's mind unhelpfully dubbed the Nexus Nightmare, pursued with terrifying speed and agility for its size. Just when it seemed the beast would overtake them, Zara led them through a narrow crevice in a rock face. The opening was too small for the massive predator, and its frustrated roars echoed behind them as they emerged into a hidden valley, gasping for breath. The humans took in their new surroundings. Before them stretched the ruins of what must have once been a magnificent city. Spiraling towers of crystal and living would reach toward the sky, while the remnants of advanced technology peeked out from beneath centuries of overgrowth. Welcome, Zara said, her mental voice filled with a mixture of pride and sorrow, to Zephyr, the last great city of the Lians. As they stood there, Marveling at the alien beauty of the ruined city, Elena felt a shiver run down her spine. They had found the hidden city, yes, but she couldn't shake the feeling that their trials were only beginning. Somewhere in the depths of this place lay the great archive, and with it perhaps the key to their survival and the redemption of Zara's people. But as another roar, different from the creature they had just escaped and somehow more chilling, echoed in the distance, Elena realized that reaching the archive would be a challenge unlike any they had faced before. The secrets of Nexus 9 were not given up easily, and the price of knowledge might be higher than any of them were prepared to pay. With a deep breath, they pressed on. Elena steeled herself for what was to come. "All right, team," she said, her voice steady despite her inner turmoil. "Let's see what secrets this city is hiding." As they began their descent into the ruins of Ziria, none of them noticed a pair of gleaming eyes watching from the shadows, nor the silent figure that began to trail their every move. The hidden city had awakened, ready to test these new intruders, just as it had tested so many before, betrayal and redemption. As the group ventured deeper into the ruins of Ziria, the air grew thick with tension and ancient mysteries. Zara led them through crumbling corridors and overgrown plazas, her mental voice providing a running commentary on the wonders they passed. "This is the Hall of Elders," she explained as they entered a vast chamber with a domed ceiling depicting celestial bodies. "Here, our greatest minds gathered to make decisions that would shape our civilization." Yuki marveled at the faded murals and dormant technology. "It's incredible, Zara. Your people achieved so much." As they progressed, Mutri noticed something unsettling. "Captain," he whispered to Elina, "we're being followed. I've seen movement in the shadows, always just at the edge of my vision." Elina nodded grimly. "I felt it too. Stay alert, everyone." Their path eventually led them to a massive set of doors adorned with intricate symbols. Zara placed all four of her hands on specific points, and the doors slowly creaked open, revealing a cavernous space filled with rows upon rows of crystalline structures. "The Great Archive," Zara announced, her mental voice filled with reverence. As they entered, lights flickered to life, illuminating the vast repository of Lien knowledge. The humans spread out, examining the alien technology with a mixture of awe and excitement. Ren's eyes lit up as he studied a holographic display. "Captain, this is incredible. The advancements here could revolutionize space travel, energy production, maybe even terraforming." Elina felt a surge of hope. With this technology, they could not only repair the Star Chaser, but potentially change the course of human history. However, her optimism was short-lived. A cold, unfamiliar voice echoed through their minds. "So, the last Lien returns, bringing outsiders to our sacred halls." The team spun around to find themselves surrounded by shadowy figures. As they stepped into the light, Elina gasped. They were Liens, but unlike Zara, their bodies were augmented with cybernetic enhancements, their eyes glowing with an unnatural light. The leader, a towering Lien with multiple mechanical arms, addressed Zara. "You disappoint us, young one. We had hoped you would be stronger." Zara's mental voice trembled. "Elder CX, but how? I thought everyone was gone." CX's artificial eyes narrowed. "We survived by embracing evolution. When the craft came, we knew our organic forms were no match, so we adapted, merged with our technology. We became stronger." Elina stepped forward, her hand on her weapon. "What do you want from us?" CX turned his cold gaze to the human captain. "Your ship, your technology. With it, we can finally take the fight to the craft and reclaim our place among the stars." "But that would make you no better than the craft," Zara protested. CX's voice grew harsh. "Survival requires sacrifice, child. You've brought us the means to our resurrection. Now, stand aside." In that moment, Elina realized the true nature of their predicament. They weren't just explorers anymore. They had become pawns in an ancient conflict. She looked at her crew, saw the fear and determination in their eyes, and made a decision. "We won't help you start another war," Elina declared firmly. They weren't just explorers anymore. They had become pawns in an ancient conflict. Elina looked at her crew, saw the fear and determination in their eyes, and made a decision. "We won't help you start another war," Elina declared firmly. What followed was chaos. The cybernetic liens attacked, their enhanced bodies moving with frightening speed. Elina and her crew fought back, their weapons seeming pitiful against the advanced adversaries. Zara, torn between her loyalty to her people and her newfound friends, made a choice that would define her. She accessed the archive systems, using her knowledge to activate the city's ancient defenses. Suddenly, the ground shook as holographic warriors sprang to life, engaging the cybernetic liens in a fierce battle. In the confusion, Elina, her team, and Zara managed to escape the archive chamber. As they ran through the crumbling city, pursued by CX and his followers, Zara's mental voice rang out. "There's a hidden hangar. If we can reach it, we might find a ship." They fought their way through the ruins, the city itself seeming to come alive around them. Ancient traps and defense systems activated, some helping them, others hindering their progress. Finally, they reached the hangar. Inside stood a sleek Lien vessel, untouched by time. As they boarded, CX and his cybernetic army burst in. "You cannot escape," CX roared. "We will follow you across the stars if we must." Zara, her hands flying over the ship's controls, turned to Elina. "Captain, I can initiate the city's self-destruct sequence. It will seal the archive forever." Elina understood the weight of the decision. This was Zara's heritage, the last remnant of her civilization. But the alternative was unleashing a vengeful, cybernetically enhanced army on the galaxy. With a heavy heart, Elina nodded. "Do it." As the ship lifted off, Zara sent the command. The ground beneath them began to shake violently. CX's anguished cry was cut short as the hangar doors closed behind them. They soared into the sky of Nexus 9, watching as the hidden city of Ziria collapsed in on itself, sealing away its secrets forever. In the days that followed their narrow escape, Elina and her crew worked alongside Zara to integrate Lien technology with the Star Chaser. The ship was not only repaired but enhanced beyond their wildest dreams. As they prepared to leave Nexus 9, a somber mood fell over the group. Zara stood at the viewport, gazing down at the world that had been her solitary home for so long. Elina approached her, placing a hand gently on one of Zara's arms. "You don't have to leave, you know. This is your home." Zara turned her compound eyes, shimmering with emotion. "No, Elina. My home died long ago. What I found with you and your crew, this is where I belong now." As the Star Chaser lifted off, leaving Nexus 9 behind, they all felt the weight of their experiences. They had come seeking repairs and found so much more: friendship, understanding, and a new perspective on the vastness of the universe. Yuki was already compiling her notes, eager to share their discoveries with the scientific community back home. Run and NRI excitedly discussed the potential of their newly enhanced Lien systems. Elina, watching her expanded crew, felt a sense of pride and purpose she hadn't known in years. But their journey was far from over. As they entered the depths of space, Zara's sensors picked up an alarming signal. A craft warship, massive and ominous, appeared on their scanners. They must have detected the energy surge from Ziria's destruction. Zara's mental voice was tight with fear. Pina's jaw set with determination. "Well, crew, looks like we've got one more fight ahead of us. Let's show them what this new alliance of ours can do." As the Star Chaser faced off against the looming craft vessel, the unlikely team of humans and the last Lien stood united. Whatever the outcome, they would face it together, a testament to the unexpected bonds forged in the crucible of Nexus 9. The final battle was about to begin, not just for their survival, but for the future of interstellar relations. As energy weapons charged and shields hummed to life, Elina couldn't help but smile. They had come expecting death from the unknown only to find friendship and a cause worth fighting for. With Zara at her side and her loyal crew at their stations, Captain Elina Reeves gave the order: "All hands, battle stations." Let's make history. The Star Chaser surged forward, a beacon of hope and unity in the vast, starlit darkness of space. The adventure that had begun with a crash landing on a mysterious world was now poised to change the course of galactic history. As human and Lien technology worked in harmony, the crew forged in adversity stood strong, facing their future with courage and determination. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath as the first shots were fired, marking the beginning of a new era, one where the boundaries between species blurred and the true potential of cooperation across the cosmos began to unfold. And so, the legacy of Nexus 9 lived on, not in the ruins of a fallen civilization, but in the hearts and actions of those who dared to reach across the divide and forge a new path among the stars.